So, all right, everyone, I'm Dr. Tushar Mehta. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and today we have Dr. Ankit Pranjal, who has finished just his first year DNB residency in a corporate hospital in Delhi. And second, we have Dr. Anjana Pillai. She is about to join her first year MS Orthopedics at Kakatiya Medical College, Warangal. So, first of all, a warm welcome to both of you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
And so there are a couple of things that we are supposed to discuss in this video. I'll be starting with Dr. Ankit first. Common question, in fact, to both of you: why orthopedics? We'll start with Dr. Ankit.
Yes.
Why orthopedics?
Sir, why orthopedics? So there's some. It was my dream, sir. The day I went into my internship, it was just a 15 days posting. But sir, in spite of doing it 2 months posting in every other department like surgery, medicine, it was that 14, 15 days which like gave me an impression. This is what I want to become for the rest of my life. This is what I will do for the next 50, 60 years of my life. And sir, it gave me immense satisfaction to work on every hour of that 15 days, sir. It was like a different experience overall.
All right, so Dr. Anjana, now first of all, I would like to welcome you again, since this is the first time in
Thank
this year
you.
I'm talking to a girl resident who has taken up orthopedics. Now, why orthopedics for you?
Um, so I had a similar experience in the sense that I was given 1 month posting in orthopedic surgery, and I urged my professors to post me in OT because I wanted to experience how my hand works and how I can deal with that environment. So when I started experiencing, first-hand surgery, I started assisting them. They were kind enough to let me do it. In spite of me being a female, there were other colleagues who were very interested in getting OT, but I requested that I want to try this out. So they were willing enough to teach me things. They let me assist plating surgeries. I assisted a bipolar prosthesis surgery, and all those things made me realize how macroscopic surgery is what I enjoy. Before that, I had attended ophthalmology OTs. I had attended surgical OTs, but I realized that this was where I was most involved, in the sense that it demanded my entire attention. Orthopedic surgery, somehow, I don't know how that happened, but I was present there. That's how I realized that I might enjoy this doing for a lifetime. So I decided to take it.
So probably I can say that it was in your internship or final year?
Internship, sir. During
Internship.
internship, I had 1 month OT posting, and actually, even till the end, till I don't know, 2 months back, I was confused between general surgery and orthopedics. Uh, Considering all the factors that you have also explained in a lot of videos and the things that I hear from my peers, my parents, everyone, but in the end, I decided that I think I should go with my instincts. That's why I went for orthopedic surgery.
All right, so probably it was some, destiny playing in your internship that you got to assist in a lot of cases, and we have you finally here in the fraternity. So, Ankit, my next question to you is that when you were about to choose DNB as your specialty, so what were the pros and cons? Because see, many of the listeners, see, I'll address again, some of the listeners here would not be able to understand. I'm addressing two issues in this video. Number one, Dr. Ankit explaining the fundamentals of DNB orthopedics in a corporate hospital, and two, Dr. Anjana explaining how girl can also take up orthopedics. We already have a lot of girls taking up. So Ankit, my next question to you is that how was your experience? How was your feeling while you were choosing DNB at that point of time? I mean, of course, it must have been a tough call. I know that you were getting MS ophthalmology in one of the good government medical college, but since you said that your passion was orthopedic, so what was it all like when you chose DNB?
Sir, initially I had a confusion what to do. So when I talked to my seniors, my parents, they told me just to visit all the corporate hospitals and wherever the DNB courses are being done, and to talk to the people, to have a one-on-one conversation with them. What exactly is their feeling? How satisfied they feel at their places pursuing the subject of their choice. So I still went on a 1.5 month tour, visiting all the important cities, all the important corporate hospitals, and all that. So, sir, after hearing them, what confined to me is that ultimately it's the dream branch which matters. the satisfaction which they had in them as compared to all the other people. For example, so my roommate always wanted to be an orthopedician, but he was like, because of some not a very good rank, he picked up surgery at a good medical college. But still, whenever I meet him, he's like, "I wish I could have picked orthopedics. The satisfaction level would have been something different. I would have been like very much happier and like everything as compared to what I am today." So that's what my parents finally told me: go with your instincts. If you want to be in orthopedics, if you want to take up orthopedics, we are with you till the very last step. And no matter what the consequences will be, we'll face it together. So, sir, I went into the DNV mop-up counseling and picked this orthopedics. And today I'm very happy with what my choice was.
So at that point of time, it must have been a tough call for you to take up orthopedics. Of course, parents were with you, but I think there must have been a lot of fear about the passing percentage and all those things.
Right, sir. Because what I've heard, like, there's no academic, there's no exposure, there's a lot of like so-called torturous thing and all that in a DNB, that people used to say that you will leave and go away in 2 3 months and prepare again and all that. So it was a very tough call, but ultimately I took it, sir, and I'm happy that I took that bold step, and I'm very very happy that I'm following a branch of my choice.
So how is your exposure in DNB? Trauma, arthroplasty, spine, scopy. Can you just give a overview of what are the different subspecialties of orthopedics? How much exposure is there?
Sir, as far as trauma is concerned, trauma is the bread and butter of any orthopedician. So, sir, no matter if you see 10, if you see an assist in 10 trauma cases and 100 trauma cases, what happens is ultimately at the end of your 3 years residentship, when you go out in the outside world doing SRship or to your private practice and all that, is then when you like specializes. It's then when you get all the confidence and all that. So
Hmm.
seeing all the different cases is important at this juncture. And sir, I'm happily seeing all the different types of trauma, be it a neglected neck of femur, or be it any spine surgery, anything compression fracture. I'm seeing everything. So like it's okay, sir. It's more than enough right now.
So you are probably, I would conclude that you were happy with the exposure, right?
Like, as far
And
as trauma is concerned.
trauma or plasty or scopy or spine, anything.
And yes, sir, like that. Sir.
Okay, second point, I'm sure you must be in conversation or you must be in touch with your peers who have probably joined MS Orthopedics at some other places. So how do you, compare their exposure to your exposure?
Sir, one of my friend has joined in a very reputed government medical college in Mumbai. At the end of the fourth month of our residentship, we were having a conversation with each other. What all things you have done, you have seen. And when I told him that 5 arthroplasty cases were posted in my OT today, he was like, "Wow, being a first year, you're assisting in an arthroplasty case at his medical college. It's the third who assists there, and that too, sir, once or twice in a week and as such like that." So, sir, for every orthopedician, especially a resident, it's like arthroplasty is the ultimate thing,
Hmm.
and arthroplasty, arthroscopy, everything, every surgery is like these surgeries I'm seeing every day in my hospital and all that. So it's a good exposure that I'm being like shown and taught the best of the surgeries out there.
All right. So now you're happy with the exposure. I'm sure you're seeing good quality cases, although quantity might be less what they see in a government medical college, particularly for trauma. How is about the academics? What is your point of view about the academics in DNB?
Sir, not to be, sir, to speak truly, sir, as far as academics is concerned, uh, we can take it in 2 ways. First of all, no one will be there using a chalk or a blackboard to teach you in a DNB hospital. So what a resident can do in a DNB hospital is that I was lucky to take up here in Delhi NCR. So there are many like reputed PG teaching courses like by Dr. Sudhir or by Dr. SM Tully or by Dr. Dhal, as well as MAMC PG teaching courses there, sir, PGH Chandigarh teaching courses there. I've attended all these classes, and I'm also attending whatever happens, whatever the classes take place whenever with the permission of my consultant. And so when we come back, we residents, let's say we are 10 of us, we discuss with each other what I have learned, what you have learned, So that is the most important thing as far as the teaching thing or our academics things in a DNB residency days is. Plus, the consultants won't always won't tell a no. If you will ask something from them, they might take 10 minutes or an hour to reply to a basic query and all that. But if you'll ask anyone, because everyone has gone through this phase, what being a resident is, they understand the field, they understand the thing that one needs to know, one needs to explore, one needs to learn. So they will ultimately reply to you or teach you, but you have to give them time, give them some space. So that's what academics should be dealt with in DNB.
Okay. All right. Now, the most important part that every person who is going to pick up DNB in a surgical branch is going to be worried about: pass percentage. Honestly, what is the pass percentage of the institute where you have joined?
So, out of the 6 final year residents, 4 have passed. It's 66%.
66%. So out of 6, 4 have passed. All right. So, I mean, for all the listeners who are there with us, you should be knowing that DNB exam is a 2-day exam where you have to write 2 theory papers on those 2 days. So technically 4 theory papers. Once you clear those theory, then you first you have to pass that theory, and then you will be allotted a date, probably 1.5 months later, regarding the practical. And practical will be at a center which is certainly not known to you. I mean, like I did DNB orthopedics. I did it from Delhi, and the practical center which I was allotted was BHU, Varanasi. So the 2 senior professors of Varanasi were actually my internals. And the irony is that in 3 years of DNB, I did not even know them. So now the people who are not known to me are actually my internals, and there were 2 external. One was from Kolkata, one was from Vadodara. So they were my externals. So the best part is that I would say the worst part for many of us is that you actually appear for a practical exam where nobody has seen you for the last 3 years. But in MS, you have actually worked in a unit which is basically seeing you for the last 3 years. And even if you are confused, or even if you do any mistake on the day of your Viva exam or your practical exam, people are there to support you. And definitely it's a take home message to everyone who is listening and watching this, that DNB has got less pass percentage as compared to MS. Number 2, DNB has got less quantity of exposure as compared to MS. The quality might differ for sure. You will be able to see a wide spectrum of cases in the subspecialties of orthopedics in DNB. The thing that you should be worried about is about the pass percentage and probably some section of academics. But I don't see academics a big problem these days, particularly in tier 1 cities like Delhi and Calcutta and Bangalore, because we have different professors teaching us. Even I used to attend the names that Ankit has taken, Dr. Dhal and Dr. Tuli and Dr. Sudhir Kapoor. I have attended their lectures more than a decade ago, and we are in touch with all these stalwarts even now, and they're all there to help us in long cases of hip and spine. Even Ankit will have his learning from all these professors and various PG courses that are going around in the country. All right, so thank you, Dr. Ankit, for your valuable input. I think that many people who are about to pick up DNB are going to listen to you and probably get motivated. And now we come to the most important person in this frame, Dr. Anjana Pillai. And I'm very happy about the passion that she has for orthopedics, which she has already shared. Now I'm going to talk about something which is probably asked to me every single day on my social media inbox, whether Instagram or Facebook. Sir, I'm a girl. I've done MBBS from X college. I want to take up orthopedics, but I don't think that the society is ready for it. And there is some gender bias. Sir, how do you think it should happen? So Anjana, you have to speak it out, that how you took this call. I'm sure there must be.
Yes, sir. Actually, I told you how I ended up taking up orthopedics and thinking about it. I briefly thought about becoming a general surgeon also, but I somehow couldn't, think of me becoming a general surgeon and then seeing some other orthopedician and realizing that I could have been that. I did not want to have that regret. So if that's how I feel, then I should certainly take up orthopedic surgery. That is one more reason why I took it. Second thing, the peer pressure, that is certainly there. There were very few residents that I talked to who actually did not ask me the question के तुम अपने लिए ही पूछ रही हो क्या? ऐसा मतलब when I was asking them के how is your college, how is it working, when I was researching all the colleges for admission, everybody, all the residents asked me whether I was I mean, have you really thought it through? Are you really, interested? Do you really want to come in? That's what right now the situation is. People are thinking, why are you taking? But there is a professor in my college, Dr. Niyati Lakhani, and she is the HOD of general surgery. So I have heard stories from her that 30 years back, general surgery was something which women usually did not take. So she was one of the only students in her, residency when she was doing it 30 years back. So it got me wondering that maybe I am, another somebody like her, after 30 years, maybe there are 10 more orthopedicians who are females. I don't know. But right now, all I could think of is that if I take up something else, I might not be as, it might not be as fun. There is purpose in all medical branches. You eventually, after 3-4 years, you will realize that, okay, whatever you're doing is counting, people are happy, you are helping out people, everything is fine. But if there is a fun component to it, then why not do that? You also enjoy, people also get things, and everything is taken care of like that. So I wondered if I would get that anywhere else. I might get used to the branch that I would have gotten, and I would have taken. All that is okay, but why not? That's what made me take it. My parents were very apprehensive initially. They have never seen a female orthopedician before. So I told them my intentions. I told them this is how it was to work for me. And to relieve them of their apprehension, I decided to, talk to a few people. There were a few seniors, my professors from other colleges. I talked to them and told them my parents' apprehension. And some of them were, kind enough to talk to my father also. They were reassuring that, okay, if she wants to do it, then let her do it. So all those steps led them to trusting me in my decision. And they know that whatever I'll take up, I'll do it with, all my, whatever I have, I'll do it with that. So my father agreed to, meet. I don't think he's still in, complete sync with the decision. But I think after 2-3 years, when I really work my way out, he might be happy with what I did. I hope that happens that way. So that is there. Other than family, friends were very supportive. They were the generation, the people of my generation are open-minded. I realized that. In fact, seniors, even my seniors who are just a year older than me, were less appreciative of the decision than my own peers. I mean, even if they are not my friends, even if they are, distant acquaintances, they were more, supportive of the decision than my own seniors. So, who are not orthopedicians, by the way, they're in different branches. They are either preparing for an exam or whatever. But because it is so stubbornly, imprinted on people's mind that it's not a girl's business, they were apprehensive, maybe careful that, to warn me that, okay, this is going to come. So people told me that also कि residency बहुत गंदी होने वाली है, आगे बहुत problem होने वाला है, ये है, वो है. Toxicity is one word which I'm tired of listening to. Everyone is like that. That गड़बड़ होगी, तुम्हें ये होगा, वो होगा. But I realized, sir, that word is very subjective. In the sense that even if I, suffer 3 years, even if I have to listen to people say things that I don't want to hear, even if I, end up struggling a lot in 3 years, if after 3 years or maybe even after 10 years, if I am able to do things that I was able to do in the internship OT 30 days के टाइम में मैं जो कर सकती थी, वो चीजें मैं अगर 10 साल बाद भी कर सकती हूँ, तो I am happy. And other thing, as far as society is concerned, this is something that I asked my professors, that will a doctor be willing to come to a female orthopedician? Will a patient be able, will be interested in coming to a female orthopedician? So one of them was very introspective on that issue. He told me that उससे तुम्हें फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए, तुम्हें अपना काम बेस्ट होना चाहिए, तुम वो ढंग से करो, उसके आगे कोई आना चाहता है या नहीं वो उनका डिसीजन है, you can't help it. ऐसा उन्होंने मुझे समझाया. And I realized that even if I do 2 surgeries in a day after 10 years, I think I'll be happy enough because I'm doing those 2 surgeries full-heartedly, not just for someone else or for some other patient. I'm not doing like that. I'm doing it because I want to do it. So even if it is just one patient coming to me that nahi aap mera ye kaam kar dijiye, then I will be happy enough to do it for that patient. So that is how ye society wala pressure I decided to keep aside. And I have been pondering on all these prejudices for a very long time. A very long time, but I think I'm past them right now enough to take your advice and download some books that you told me to, and I've started reading also thoda thoda. So I think I am going to stick to this path. Yeah.
I just hope and I pray that you stick to this branch, and maybe 5, 10 years later, somebody is doing another video and mentioning Dr. Anjana's name, that see, she took a decision in 2020, and now 10 more people are taking inspiration every year and they're following you. I really admire you. I remember, after that counseling session when we met in Ahmedabad, I could not see you in the counseling session. I had to take an early flight. So I still remember the fire in you when you came the next day that, I have to meet you and I have to take the call. And I'm telling you that I've been getting certain messages that I have taken. Loyala's message, I've taken orthopedics, have been allotted at X place, but now I think that I'm not ready for it. So I told her that, that you have taken a decision after thinking about it 100 times, it is better to stick to it rather than to, just leave it, because repenting is something which is going to kill you. So one should not repent upon the decision. That is something very important. Ankit,
Sir, I want to add something here, a very small point. What you said about that girl, I can completely relate to it. Even till yesterday, I thought myself as a general surgeon. And the same thing that I told you 10 minutes back, that I am sitting on a general surgeon's chair and some orthopedician is coming to me for a reference. I really know that if I look at him, then I'll realize that, okay, मैं वो हो सकती थी, ऐसा मेरे को नहीं सोचना है. I want to be the one getting the reference to that general surgeon. So that is why I keep, even if I have second thoughts, in a crazy moment, I might also think that, nahi yaar, छोड़ो surgery नहीं लेना, general medicine ले लेते हैं. But कोई भी college में ले लेते हैं. But then again, I think of this very point that, okay, I don't want to see someone else and think that I could have been that. I just don't want that right now. So that is why I want to tell that girl that please think of yourself in that position and realize if that decision is truly right for you or not. And if that is not, then it's still, there is time to change. There is a second round coming. So if you can place yourself there and realize this, that you don't want to feel that regret, then it is certainly something that you should go forward with.
Branch is the first priority, I guess, rather than degree. Branch is the first priority. Degree doesn't matter. Branch matters, because at the end of the day, you are going to live for next 20, 30 professional years of your life with your branch only.
Yes, sir.
So, Ankit,
and I remember you only telling this in your counseling video, that branch over city, branch over anything else. And I kept that in mind all along. So thank you, sir. You were also a reason for me taking up orthopedics, because I have understood orthopedics from your eyes only. So
thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me. Ankit, there's a lot of whims and fancies in the branch of orthopedics that it requires a lot of muscle power. And you see Dr. Anjana joining as a first-year resident. So what advice would you give, because you're the senior? So kitna lagta hai tumhe, how much is the muscle power involved?
Sir, it's basically the technique which is important. Doing the right thing in the right way, that's important. It's not the muscle power which is important. And as far as sir, this concept is like you need to go to a gym when you're an orthopedic resident and all that. It's just a hoax, nothing as such. If you're doing the right thing in the right way, you will be like doing it absolutely fine.
Yeah, so he has mentioned the right thing. It's a technique that matters. And plus nowadays we have, sophisticated instruments. We have, flexible reamers, automated drill machines. We have everything. And you don't require that much amount of muscle power, as they say that, you have to go to a gym. Ankit has clearly mentioned it. So all the listeners, please understand, this muscle power and all these things is just a hoax, and you should not be, believing in them. Now, my next question to you, Dr. Anjana, is that, you said that you have heard about a word and you are tired of it, and that is toxicity. Even I am, irritated with this word toxicity, because, see, I have seen toxicity in this branch when I was a first-year resident, but that's okay. That's a part of the medical profession. That's fine. And whatever seemed toxic to you, or maybe it seems toxic to me, maybe nothing for you. So toxicity means a workload, and workload, it's a part of the profession. I mean, then why are we doctors for? So it's a part of our profession that we have to work under hectic circumstances. I mean, this time is the best example of that. The pandemic that we are facing, the first line of the workers, the healthcare workers, they're the first line of defense. So if we are not supposed to be working under hectic circumstances, then who else is supposed to be? So how do you think that you are preparing yourself for this so-called word toxicity? I mean, would you think that anything is required to do that, or you want to take it just as it comes? Anything that is striking your head? Why I'm asking you, Anjana, is because many, even boys, are asking me question. And that's, sir, how should I behave? What should I do? What should I learn? What should I read so that I don't face this toxic environment? So any suggestion, any plans that you have for yourself, Dr. Anjana?
Sir, as far as I am concerned, as a personality, I'm able to understand a lot of types of people. In the sense, I'm able to relate to all sorts of people in whatever small form that I can. So I feel that I will keep learning my priority, in the sense that whoever, doesn't matter what kind of a person that is, whoever is ready to teach me, I will learn whatever I can from that person. It doesn't matter how that person is or how badly he treats me, at least to some extent. There is certainly a limit of things to happen. So I am ready to take, struggles and all those things that you told me, if they are ready to teach me. In the sense, if I bring about a learning, behavior in myself, then I realize that they will teach me. I mean, that is something that I experienced in the ortho OT also, sir. My senior residents and my professors, they saw a female coming into the OT on day one, the day that I joined. So 2-3 days, for anyone, it will be like that only. I'm sure my male colleagues will also be, kept aside. They have to see the environment first. They have to understand it and everything. I understand. But I did that for 3-4 days. And I stood still. I observed everything. I understood who is senior, who is junior, who's understanding everything, who's teaching everything. And then I started showing them that I want to learn. Please teach me. I want to understand this. I want to see this. I started asking questions at the right time. It is important that you ask questions at the right time. So
inside orthopedics, OT timing is everything.
So I started doing that because I really wanted to learn, sir. And I realized while observing also for 3-4 days that that spatial arrangement of things, as I said, macroscopic surgery is something which my brain understands very easily. मुझे बहुत एफर्ट डालना नहीं पड़ा सर. तो मैंने कोशिश किया कि उन्हें वैलिड सवाल पूछूं, फालतू सवाल ना पूछूं, चुप रहूं, उनसे चीजें समझूं. So they realized that I was genuinely interested, and no matter how skeptical they were before of me as a female, they started teaching me things. And after that, I assisted every other surgery. Even after 15 days of posting, I was supposed to rotate and give someone else chance. But because the HOD saw me getting scrubbed in so many times, he said, if you want to stay, you stay. It doesn't matter. He was that supportive. Because I wanted to learn. And I feel that nobody can, deny you learning if you are ready to learn.
Yeah,
no matter how bad the person is, it doesn't matter. मतलब कितना भी आदमी अपने पर्सनल लाइफ में, अपने पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस में कितना भी अलग हो, एंड इट इज सर्टेनली एक्सपेक्टेड. हर आदमी का तजुर्बा और अपना तरीका सब कुछ अलग होता है. बट एंड दैट्स हाउ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स एंड टॉक्सिसिटी एंड एवरीथिंग कम आउट टू बी. Only if you are not in the same page with some person, you end up having toxicity.
Yeah.
So, at least in my experience. So, I have decided to just go with the flow. I'll see what people around me, I'll observe and I'll learn. That's my only goal, sir. I don't want to do anything else there. I just want to learn orthopedics and get out of there alive.
Ankit, what do you think that how much toxicity you had to face in your first year, and any role of hierarchy like senior, junior was important in your entire first year?
So there's a saying: if you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. So it's a very true saying. Initially, I was like skeptical about asking questions from the seniors, what they will think. I don't know anything. I don't know. Let's start with the base. I don't know about the orthopedics dressing and all that. I was like, what they will think of me, what my consultants will think of me, what my senior residents will think of me. But sir, when I started asking them, they were like, it's okay. It's okay not to know things. It's okay to ask, because it's after only asking one gets to know about everything, starting from the basics, then going upwards towards more basic more questions about surgery, then more questions about rehabilitation protocol and all that. So it's okay to ask from the seniors and all that. So it's just like in a corporate hospital, the environment is just like a medical college only. The senior junior bond is same there. So the seniors are very helpful in a BN residency to guide you, to tell you about all the teaching co- courses which are there. Because when you start, sir, no one would have heard MAMC teaching course. No one
Yes.
would have heard about all the star teachers which are out there, sir, Dr. Suki, Dr. Tuli, and all that. It was my senior only who told me you should learn from these people. You should like go to the classes. Don't worry, I will manage the duty myself. You are a first year resident. You have time. You can go and attend the classes. So, sir, it's a very nice environment generally if you have a good rapport with the senior.
Okay, one piece of advice that I would like to share with both of you, we are from now the same fraternity, that mentorship is very important. I mean, I personally have always believed in this concept in surgical branches that mentorship is important. And I would like to quote, I won't name one of my seniors here, but he was the guy. I mean, I was about to finish my first year and we were doing an interlocking femur. And I asked him, sir, can I just make an entry point? He said, Tushar, today you see the entire thing. Tomorrow you will assist me, day after tomorrow you will do, I will assist you, and probably the next time you will do and I will see. So वो बहुत क्लैरिटी से उसने मुझे बोला कि आज मैं करता हूँ, तू देख, नेक्स्ट टाइम पे मैं करूंगा, तू असिस्ट कर, नेक्स्ट टाइम पे तू करेगा, मैं असिस्ट करूंगा, नेक्स्ट टाइम पे तू करेगा, मैं देखूंगा. So he was pretty clear. And about when I was about to finish my 1.5 years, I was doing almost everything on my own. And he used to just ask me that how was it? Like, ठीक गया surgery? मैंने हाँ ठीक गया. Post op X-ray दिखा उसको, वो CM का photo दिखाया, and he was convinced. So mentorship, I think probably what I am today is only and only because of the mentors, because they actually used to, they pick your finger and they take you, from pillar to post, and they guide you with everything. And of course, if that includes some scolding, some, bashing up or some rough talks, I mean, that's acceptable, that's fine. Learning has to have a, steep curve. It's very slow, incubation period is there, and you have to be, you see, you have read orthopedics in your final year MBBS just for 30 marks. Maybe one tumor, two fractures, one nerve injury, one pediatric condition. You have just, passed the practical by telling 15 things, five spotters and four X-rays and two implants and maybe one short case. And then suddenly you are exposed to this big, huge world of orthopedics. In operation theater, I was assisting. I remember it was, I think, first month of my residency. I was assisting, and one of the senior professors was operating. He said, flex, flex, flex. I was holding the foot of the patient. I was actually standing at the foot end of the patient, to be honest. I was not holding anything. I was not even able to see what is going on in the surgery. So he said, flex, flex, flex. And I was not able to understand whether to flex the foot, whether to flex the knee, whether to flex the hip, or whether to flex myself. I was not knowing that what to do. So I was like, "Sir, flex what?" He said, bloody hell, I did not ask you. You just get out. I said, sir, but I thought that you thought, oh, you can think, oh, you have capacity to think, oh, you can't do anything, you just get out. And I was like, shit, what has happened? And I left the OT and I kept thinking that, was that a mistake even? And another 1 hour later, he comes to me, and of course he was going through the, OT recovery area, and he said, so who will come for the rounds? I said, I will come for the rounds. He said, first we'll have a cup of tea. And he did not even acknowledge that he is kind of insulted, or he kind of said something to me. He did not even remember that what was the conversation that happened almost an hour ago, because he was in his own senses while he was operating. So there are certain things which seniors might tell you, but they don't mean it. Like, I have said a couple of mean things, while operating. I remember we were doing a spine. It was a L4, L5 discectomy. And back in those days, there was no microscope. I'm talking about 2012, 13. So we were doing an open laminectomy, and there was a dural puncture, and CSF came out. And one of my juniors was there, and he said, sir, kya hai ye? I said, bloody hell, kya hai ye? I said, this is CSF. Oh, cerebrospinal fluid. So I was so irritated with the fact that he was not ready to help me on that. And he was asking question at that point of time when I was in the maximum stress. So I said, you have only 2 minutes to get out of this place and to, give your resignation. It was in a corporate hospital, and to give your resignation, otherwise I will bloody shut you out. And the same night we were partying together. So I mean, we don't mean these things. It's okay. I mean, in times of despair, you say a couple of things, and then probably an hour later, everything is sorted. We are back to our back to our normal momentum of the branch. So it was good interacting with you, Dr. Ankit and Dr. Anjana, and I think you guys are competent enough to take this baton of orthopedics a long, long, long way ahead. And I do hope that all the people who are having assumptions in their head that whether to take DNB or not, I will be sharing Dr. Ankit's contact details as well. I'll be sharing his Facebook link. You can message him, and I'll be sharing Dr. Anjana's details as well. You can guys, you can ask her that what is her perspective about it. She'll be able to guide you better. So thank you guys. It was lovely chatting with you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
All of you.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a bright future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.